So Kenny came up to me and he said, "Boss, the laser needs some tweaking." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, it's not performing like it should." And I said, "Which one?" And he said, "Well, the CO2." And I said, "Okay," because the other one, there's not much I can do with that one. That one just runs like a clock, man. I mean, there's not much you can do to it. But the CO2 is a little bit fussy.
What's the other one you're talking about?
That's the fiber laser. But the CO2, there's a lot of tweaking you can do out there. There's mirrors that need adjusting periodically, need cleaning and so forth. So I need to go back there if I can find him, which is a challenge all by itself to find a guy because he's never around. So I said, well, let me take a look at it. I'll come back and we'll see if we can't tweak it. But what we're going to look for, first and foremost, is the cleaning of the lens, because if they're dirty, the performance is going to go way down. And not only that, but it'll destroy the mirror. So you get a little dust on there, and that can eat into the mirrors, and then you end up replacing the mirrors. So that's number one. The other thing I want to talk about is that the laser itself, when you open it up and you look at the carriage in there that goes back and forth, it's important that we put it to the farthest point from the laser. That is, the farthest point forward and the farthest point to the right, because the laser itself is way in the back. That's where the mirror alignment will be the most critical. If you can get the mirrors adjusted to the farthest point, then everything else comes out great. So,
why would our viewers be interested in a video about lasers?
There are an awful lot of these lasers out there. Good question. There's a lot of lasers out there like this. These are relatively inexpensive lasers by comparison. And I think a lot of the folks out there want to know, if I have one of these lasers, how do I tweak it? Or what kind of, should I buy one? I think a lot of folks are going to look and say, well, these things look like there's a lot of trouble, and they're really mystical, and there's this fog around these lasers, and we don't know anything about them. They're not that complicated. So I think we can show the viewers that own one of these machines or that are thinking about buying one that they're really not that complicated. They're pretty simple. You just have to have a good touch. You know, we talk about touch all the time, but that's really the key. The right touch, taking it easy, one step at a time, and it's fun.
How are those when they come? They come in a box. I mean, do you have to put them together?
You do have to put them together, and they are a bit of a challenge to put together. And the average guy that buys one is going to have a tough time putting it together. You're almost going to need an expert or somebody that's already done it before, because there's a big learning curve. You know, we're pretty fortunate here that we got some pretty good talent, and it wasn't a big deal for us. But for the guy that's probably going to operate out of his garage or out of his basement, could be a challenge.
Our viewers, what would they use this for? You know, with this day and age, with part marking and logistics and traceability and so on, I know that CO2 isn't really the best thing for metals, for steel and so on, but it will do steel.
The CO2 is best for it's best for wood and plastic. It doesn't really do that well on steel. The fiber laser is the one that really works well on steel. The CO2 beam has a tendency to bounce off of shiny surfaces, so it doesn't like to affect it, but it's not the case with wood. So inert materials are great. Plastic, wood, it's paper, etc. So it's good for cutting paper, wood, plastic, marking it, but not steel.
Steel, don't they spray something on it to make the...
There are some sprays that you can put on it which will help affect the mark, but it's still not as good as a fiber laser. They're the best when it comes to marking steel, but they're much more expensive. They're 10 times the cost.
That's good.
All right, so let's head back. Let's see if we can find Kenny. Typical Kenny, not here. Tea time, November 5th, 71 degrees, today 73 high. I want to go golfing. The kid's tell me he's got a problem back here. I'm here to fix the laser. The guy's not here as usual. He's probably out smoking or he's in the shop somewhere doing something he shouldn't be doing. But I just know that I got stuff to do, man. Where the hell is he? What?
Hey, what are you doing back here?
What? You said you wanted me back here. You got a problem with the machine. I'm back here to fix the machine. You're out there jerking around like you always are.
No, we need to have a talk about this one-ply toilet paper.
We don't need to talk about Dick. Dip, I meant to say. Anyway, so what's the issue?
Your Chinese machine here.
Wait a minute. Don't start with the Asian countries, man. There's nothing wrong with this machine. I bought it's a good value. It's a good machine for the money, so don't be starting with that stuff.
It needs to be tweaked.
So just to be clear, this is a Chinese machine, right, Kenny?
Yes.
And
Go red.
you and I went together putting this thing together. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes, we did.
And the manual that came with this thing is really good if you speak and understand Chinese. But if you don't, it's been translated, and I have to tell you, we took this manual, we went, okay.
Yeah.
We said, okay,
fire the
let's go."
translator.
That's it.
Fire him.
Guy, we'll do it ourselves.
We'll do it ourselves.
We figured it out. But when this thing does not operate out of a box. I mean, folks, you don't just open it up and
You don't plug it in.
punch a button. It doesn't work that
No.
way. The tube, the CO2 tube is separate. You got to mount that.
Wire it. Got to wire
was
it up.
supposed to be soldered. It wasn't. They said
wasn't
put some
soldered.
tape on there. You can't do that. That didn't even work.
No ground wires.
Nope. So it's a different animal, folks. But it's again, for the money, it's okay. But for you guys that think you're just going to buy one of these things and plug it in, not going to happen.
Be nice.
It would be nice.
It would be nice.
The trickiest part about this whole thing, Kenny, was I think the mirrors, right?
The mirrors are not easy at all.
Getting them to line up, because when you move it a little bit here, it moves a whole lot way out here. So that's a real
Right.
problem.
The further away from the light source from the tube, the harder it is to keep aligned.
Exactly
front
right.
and back, left
Exactly
and right.
Yep. So if we can get a shot back here, Jim, of one of the mirrors, we can kind of show what it's all about and how we have to adjust them, because it's a little tricky.
But we got the pro going on right here.
got the
Tweaker
pro.
man. The tweaker man.
Because you may recall, Jim, I don't know, you may recall, we had all these other lasers. We had some YAG lasers in here, and I used to tweak those things all the time on the mirrors and on the lenses. So I got pretty good at that, because it was a real fine touch. We talk about that fine touch all the
Yes.
time, right?
You
This is no
taught
different.
me a lot.
That's right.
You have.
And it's still here.
Yes, it is.
I'm impressed.
For I don't know how many more years,
I'm
but
impressed. Well, you're on a downhill slope right now.
yeah. I guess I'll take it with me, right?
Yep. So, Jim, if you can get a good shot of this mirror, so we can explain this. This is the body of the mirror, which is solid and doesn't move. The front part is where the mirror actually is located. And there's two screws back here that you can adjust. And this front part where the mirror is actually floats on the springs. So when you move it, it moves the mirror one way or another. Now think about this. If you move this mirror up or down, and remember there is no up and down. These are diagonal, so you kind of have to fool with one side or another to get it to work. And didn't we have to shim this or something, because we couldn't get
There was the one down.
back here?
It was the next mirror over.
We couldn't even get it to line up. There was not enough movement in there to get it to line up. But these screws right here are what you have to turn to get the mirror to line up to the next mirror. Because what you're trying to do is to bounce the beam off of here and bounce it onto the next mirror. So once you get this lined up, and what we did was we moved this secondary mirror as close to this mirror as we could.
That's where we started.
That's
yes.
where we started. And then we said, okay, let's get a beam on that. And then we moved it out about 6 inches and got another beam, made sure that it was there, got it on center, moved it out till we finally got it. We got the carriage to the front. Once we got it to the front, we got a good beam there. Now we're ready to make the last mirror adjustment, which is a challenge. Well, actually second to last. So Jim, we'll show you what we got over here. Okay. All right, so we've got this carriage all the way forward, and the mirror, the second mirror, is right here. So the first mirror is going to bounce the beam off on this one. We want to make sure that we still have a beam. Then we move it back to what, about here, Kenny?
Yep, about halfway. Oh, right there.
Right there. Now we made sure we still have a beam. Now the next thing we're going to do is we move it a little more
All the way to the front.
and take another reading. We put a piece of tape on here to see how it reacts. If we still have a beam, we're good. Now the beam may go up or down, right or left, and we've got to adjust it We got to go back to that first mirror and adjust it to make sure it continues to hit this mirror. Then we go to the right. We stop right about there, and then we put a piece of tape on here and we make sure that that beam bounces on this one. Now keep in mind, when we change this mirror,
this is where it gets tricky.
Here's where it gets fussy, right here.
Yes.
Because it has a small target, and that mirror is a little challenging to get to, but it's the same concept. Don't know why they did it this way.
Same way. Well, probably to protect it, because there's nothing they can get to it, I would guess.
But, you know, but instead of having 4 screws on there, which would make it a lot easier to adjust, or 3,
right,
they've got 2, which is not easy to do. And then once you get the beam on this lens or on this mirror, now is when it becomes really sensitive. So when you get out here, stop right there. So if we had to move this, say, a quarter of a turn back here, which is probably more than you could.
That's like way too much.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's think about it as a clock. If you had to move from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, maybe you'll get your beam in there, but it's going to be less than that. Once you get way out here, it's like moving a minute or less. So it's like 1 degree or a half a degree.
Yeah,
or a
it's
degree.
not. It's like hairs. You're splitting hairs.
If you snap it with your finger, you're going to lose it.
Yep.
You can almost breathe on it. And
it could still be good out here, but you take it back in and it'll be off.
It'll be off again.
It could be off high, low.
Right. So now you're screwing around chasing it, and that's where the time comes in, when you start chasing the beam. Once you find the beam, you leave it alone. So we took it all the way back to the far end, right?
Yep.
And we got a good beam there. We were happy with it. Okay, so come back forward again just a little bit. So there's this mirror that picks up the beam, has to reflect through the lens, and finally to where it distributes the end beam on the work. And that one has a bit of adjustment too, but that one has 3 adjustments.
3,
right?
yeah. They're all springs in there.
So that one, you know, you can tweak on it a little bit, but basically the concept is to make sure that the beam goes down. But if you're off to the right or the left too far, you're going to start chasing this.
Yep.
It's a real challenge.
In fact, I wouldn't even adjust if you're not getting the beam hitting correct up here on the head of this. I wouldn't even adjust any of this up here, because it's not.
No, you're not going to do any good.
It's not going to do any good.
No, you've got to get the beam in the center here, and then you can start fooling with it. So this is not for an amateur. This kind of stuff it can be very frustrating.
Very frustrating.
And that's why we don't like to mess with it. Once we get it, we want to leave it alone, man. We got to
lock it down.
Go away, leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Don't think you can make it just a little bit better, because you're going to spend the whole day chasing a beam all over the place.
It ain't like a moonbeam, man. You can't catch it.
Hey, there it is. Hey, there it goes.
So that's really what is so critical about these things is that getting the mirror alignment just right. Once you're set up, and forget the manual, I'm telling you, just
that thing will melt your brain if you try to comprehend it. You're going to be even more frustrated if you try and go by that manual.
Unless you read Chinese.
Yes, if you read Chinese, it probably makes perfect sense.
You're good. So go to your local laundry or your local Chinese restaurant. Ask one of those dudes to come over and help you out.
Get the egg foo young.
Right, take that with you.
Take that with you, because you're going to need it.
And a fortune cookie.
You'll
need that.
Because you're going to need good luck and good fortune to line this stuff up from that manual.
So there you can do it. What is this?
That's
you got a runny nose? You got a big enough nose, man.
Close.
You're not going to use it. You're not going to use this on the machine, are you?
We can't. It'll scratch the lenses. It's too abrasive.
Part of it. What else?
I might have used that one once.
You did. No. The real issue is that sometimes they have cream on them to make it soft. So to leave a residue, do not use Kleenex to clean your lenses.
No.
What do we use?
Lens cloth.
Lens cloth. That's it. And
lens cleaner.
Lens cleaner.
I don't know who Len is, but he makes some good cleaner.
Yep. And this is another lens cleaner.
Yep.
All right, so the first thing I would suggest, you're saying that this thing needs to be tweaked. We don't know if the lenses are dirty. That's where I would go first. Because if they're dirty, and you're going to get a decrease in performance, right?
Correct.
So let's start by cleaning it. You got too many cleaners here, man. I got 1, 2, and 3. What are they?
One's for
coated optics.
coated optics, and the other one's basic, just regular. You got regular
Optic
and unleaded.
mirrors.
You got mirror cleaner, which is
And-
basic.
and
You can use
optic
it.
cleaner.
And then the coated optics. So you got
And
regular and
The
unleaded.
difference is this one is $8, this one's $7. The only difference is the color.
Yeah, that
That's
one's
it.
peach color. That one's
That's
urine.
it. Okay, so
Urine. Mine, urine.
it's mine or it's urine. I
Yeah,
don't know.
either.
All right, so these are mirrors. That's what we want to clean, right?
Yes.
So I will also use a Q-tip.
These are industrial strength Q-tips too. Don't
better
clean your ears with them. You don't want to go there. Or your nose. Could do some damage.
All right. So I'm going to start back in this guy, which is right yonder. Can you see that? And then we're going to take this magic guy right here. Now, when you're cleaning a lens, it's important that you make sure that there's no lint on there, right, buddy?
Yep. You don't want any
That one looks good. We have another one that's right here. Now, this one kind of bothers me because there is some dirt on the entrance. Now, this one's going to be a challenge to get in there with the cloth, and I want to get this residue off here. There's a bunch of stuff right there in the very beginning. Look at that. That's not on the lens, but it tells me that there's stuff getting inside there. So you know, there's really no magic to lasers. It's all pretty simple. This design is such that the real issues are alignment of the mirrors, and of course to make sure that the laser tube itself is in good shape.
That looks pretty clean.
I don't know what that is at the bottom there. Let me see the flashlight a second.
Here, use mine.
That mirror's burnt. Look at it.
That's gonna have to be taken out.
That's right. You need to replace that
We're
mirror,
gonna
bud.
replace that.
There you go. Aren't you glad you got me?
Yeah.
Now, I just want to know why you didn't notice that. Why does it take me? You're interfering with my golf day.
You know, you don't come back here enough, so I got to make up something to get you
well.
back here.
Well, that puppy's really burnt, man.
Is it?
Well,
Or is it just smoke dust? You know, these things don't run when your orifice is dirty. That's a bad thing.
there's nothing wrong with my orifice.
No, the machine orifice.
Oh,
I didn't really want to know about yours, but thanks for sharing that.
yeah, right.
Burnt or dust? Burnt.
Burnt.
Wow.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
You get that in there, Jim?
Can you see that in there? Zoom in there. We'll have to pull that out and slap a new one in.
Yep. You got a new one?
Somewhere around here.
I don't like that
I
answer.
know.
You need to say, yes, sir, I do. It's
Oh,
right
yes, I
here.
do.
Right in the drawer over here.
Yeah, it's right in the drawer over here.
All right, let's go to the other mirror. This one looks good, like I said earlier. That one's beauteous. Can you get a shot of that? Got it there, boy? Boy,
Jim's in there, man. Jim was in there.
I'm telling you. All right, and then there's one back here.
This is the main one back here. This is the one that comes directly off the laser tube. This is the most important one.
That guy's dirty too.
Good thing you're in here on a Thursday. We usually do the cleaning and the maintenance on Friday mornings, so
Good
I'll
at
wait for
doing
you
that.
to schedule a golf game.
Good at doing
I schedule my production around your golf time.
Well, it's about time. You should do that. I've been here long enough, man. I'm entitled.
You are.
All right. So, the other thing we need to remember is that the alignment of this tube right here is important, not just right to left or up and down, but the back end or the tail of this thing has got to be parallel with the a slide that goes back and forth. If it's not, what'll happen is the beam will go this way, and when you get out here on this carriage and you get to the far end, it's going to be misaligned.
It's going to be misaligned.
So the alignment is done via these 2 bolts in the back here. If Jim can get that, where those 2 bolts are down there in the bottom. We loosen those and we can move this tube to the right and to the left.
Those.
And I don't want to fool with it right now because I think it's pretty good. I think the real issue is that one mirror
Yes, I agree.
has to be replaced.
I agree.
So, can we do maybe a sample burn on that right where it's at? And let's see if we've got some heat there. Now keep in mind we've bypassed the safeties. It's the only way you can do this alignment is with the safeties being off. So
not advisable if you're doing what you're getting into.
I don't recommend doing this at home if you're not experienced with it.
That's right.
All right, give it a shot.
Hide your kids.
Right, hide your kids. Don't let them near it.
Get the little animals out of the way because you don't know where this beam's going to go. It could get me. It could get you.
That's right.
All right, here we go.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Beautiful. I like it.
That's pretty good right there.
Yeah, I don't think you have a problem with alignment. I mean, that target's almost in center.
No, I think you're right. I don't think we need to tweak anything. I think we clean up that mirror and replace it. And we should be good to go.
Do you want to see if you got one here?
No.
So you got a mirror?
No.
I don't think you got one?
No.
Uh-oh. He doesn't have a mirror. How many times have we said, I don't want to hear, I don't have it. I want to hear, I have it for an emergency. So now what are you going to do?
It's running good, so I'm going to get a mirror for it.
If it's running good, why am I here?
Because I thought it needed to be tweaked, and you're the tweaker. You're the tweaker, man.
I came here to tweak it, and I tweaked it, and I can't tweak it anymore, man, because that's it.
That's it.
We got to replace that mirror. So that's the bad news. Now, can you still get a decent mark in the meantime? All right.
Yeah. That's why I never thought it was a mirror.
All right. Well, there you go. That's all we do to tweak it. Now, we could adjust the mirrors, but there's no point in it because the alignment's really good. I don't see an issue, except the mirror needs to be replaced, and the mirrors were dirty. So now that we've cleaned the mirrors, I think you're going to get a better mark. But once you replace that mirror, you'll get an even better mark.
Yes.
So let's do that. And we're good to go, man.
We're good.
I'm off to the golf game.
All right.
Hey, good seeing you.
Hey,
next
nice seeing you.
Yeah, next time.
Sorry you had to wait, but we really need to talk about the one-ply.
I'm glad that you were here. Normally you're not here between 7 and 12.
I'm really busy.
You're here. You got to wash your hands.
I got to wash I got to clean up at 10.
So there you have it. I'm really glad that I was able to stop by and see this guy. And one more thing, don't ask for a raise. No raises. Don't ask for it.
This guy's
hang around. We'll give you a raise, but you got to hang around a little bit.
13 years. 13 years.
Wow, I haven't been here that long.
I know.
I've only been here 5.
Well, do you know anybody that has? You can give me a raise?
I do.
Okay.
But I'm not going to. You got to do some work. All right, let's get that production cranked up.
Yeah, man.
I want to see some action here. So that's it. I'm out of here.
You're out of here. Go golf.
My clubs are in the car, man.
Go golf.
I'm gone. Goodbye.
See ya. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to.
Yeah.
We'll
take care of that mirror problem.
Get that mirror and I'll be back, bud.
All right.
See ya.
Have a good afternoon.
72 degrees.
Go. Interesting.